Good morning, hopefuls. It is me, Miss Hope, and this is the first segment of On the Couch with Miss Hope. Now, I'm not on the couch, but that's what it's going to be. I am currently taking a break from my homework, and my kids and my husband are outside playing with kites. So this is the best time for me to dart in and get this done, you know, so I can see how everything goes and without having any special guest appearances. Okay, so for most of you who don't know me, my name is Darlene, but those who do know me as Miss Hope. I was dubbed that by some of my Facebook followers on my Soho page, and so it just kind of stuck, you know, kind of stuck with me. And for those of you who do not know me or do not know my story, because I have been circulating around the internet a little bit, but if you did just happen to miss you, which I wouldn't be surprised, I am a breast cancer survivor. Last year at the age of 30, or actually almost a year ago, on July the 2nd of 2012, I was diagnosed with DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ breast cancer. And I was totally shocked because breast cancer doesn't run in my family. Ovarian cancer does, which is what I was looking for. And I was just really taken back by that. What happened was I came home from a walk with me and my oldest daughter, and I found a lump that was really high up in this region on my breastplate, and it felt like a hard kidney bean. And I felt down a little bit more, and there was another lump, and you know, I was frantic and I was freaking out and I was calling everybody. And by the time I made it to the OBG, which was that was like on a Friday, Sunday, she had found another lump, and within the next week there were 5 lumps, and then a really big lump, and it was just madness. And so by the time I actually went through having my diagnosis and my BRCA testing and having my surgery, when I woke up, I was told that there were 9 lumps in my left breast, and they had found an active lymph node under my arm, which all of that necessarily wasn't there from the beginning. But my type of breast cancer that I had was estrogen sensitive, which means I'm a woman. Monthly, you know, your estrogen's on high. Your estrogen is high anyway because you're a lady, and it was just really just multiplying, having a nice little party in there, doing what it wants to do. So I had some big girl decisions to make. That's why I like to call them big girl decisions, because it's not for the light at heart. And so I made a decision to have a double mastectomy, even though it was one breast. I'm like, hey, look, I am not going through this anymore. So whatever I have to do to guarantee my life of longevity, that's what I would do. So I did have my double mastectomy. My husband was not already a fan of that at first. He was kind of like, that's too much, I don't want you doing nothing unnecessarily. But then it was just a lot that we had to take in, and we had a lot that we had to deal with. The blessing part about it was that when I discovered my lump, it was at a very early stage. So I had like a 99.7, 99.9% of survival rate, praise God. And everything went great for as procedural wise of the surgeries. My story kind of turns a little bit because even though I got through those things well, I had chemotherapy. They put me on chemo treatments, and they told me I wouldn't have to be on chemo treatments, and then they wanted to give me radiation when they told me at first I didn't have to be on radiation. So I had a lot of issues and reservations about this. So in September of last year, I had my first chemo treatment, and it made me feel absolutely horrible. Now, I am not saying any of this because our medical teams and our medical over the years and the decades and centuries have done magnificent. But this is my personal thoughts and feelings about it and how it affected my life. It was horrible. You know, after one treatment, I had cut my hair down low. I had these long, beautiful afro because I am a natural diva. But anyway, I had cut my hair off because I wanted to control this situation. I wanted to control it. So I cut my hair, and went ahead and did this chemo treatment, and it just made me feel horrible. I had like a little boy fade, and that hair started coming out. I had patches everywhere, and of course they try to warn you of all those things. But the type of medicine they were giving me, they were saying it was going to turn my nail bed colors and all of these different things that were going to happen to me. Now someone may say, oh well, that's kind of vain, you know, all you care about is how you look. No, it's not about me caring about how I look, but it is about, is this necessary? Those were the thoughts that continues to go through my head. Now, I am a believer. I am a praying woman. So, you know, I'm like, I don't believe that this is necessary for me. But because I let the emotional part outride my spiritual part, I decided to do this because I do have 3 small children, and I do have a husband, and I did want to be around for them. However, after that first treatment, I was like, screw that. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. Went to the doctors. That's exactly what I told them. I'm done. Not doing it anymore. Whatever. I don't care what you say. They weren't happy, but they didn't have a choice. So me and my oncologist, we decided, okay, we're going to come up with an agreement. He said, well, you can take tamoxifen and do your holistic approach, because I decided that I was going to go holistically. I'm going to change my diet, change what I drink, my exercise, everything, and start living a more fuller, healthier life, because my goal is recovery. There's a difference between recuperation and recovery. Recuperation says my body feels okay. Recovery says all of me feels okay. Inside, out, spirit, mind, soul, spiritually, I feel awesome. So, I cut my treatments. I did. I cut my treatments, and I changed my diet. I rejected the radiation. Okay, hopefuls, your eyes are not deceiving you, and there's nothing wrong with your computer. I have on a different shirt. My hair is different. Same earrings though, but this is a different day. I had to pick this up the next day because my kids and husband came in, and I'm like, oh no, you know, everybody want a little cameo, and it would just be entirely too hard to get this video done, which I am determined to do, and for you to have this video without any interruptions. Maybe later on down the line, I have them do a cameo or so, but not in this one. Okay, so anyway, I left off where I was talking about me and my doctor had come up with a agreement for me to do this tamoxifen. And what tamoxifen is a medication that in a nutshell, it suppresses your estrogen hormone so that you don't have the rapid estrogen growth. Now, the only issue with this is because it sends you into early menopause. There are night sweats, and you achy and you moody and you feel funny. And I'm like, okay. So I tried it. I tried it for about a month, and I didn't like it either. I just really didn't like it. And I had heard a testimony from a friend of mine about how she was in this situation where she shouldn't have got pregnant, and then she did. And I have been praying, you know, really praying and asking God, you know, is this what you want me to do? And my end result was that if I'm going to trust him, I need to trust him totally and wholeheartedly. And so I did. I stopped taking tamoxifen after 1 month. And from that point on, I have taken on a holistic approach to my health. Went in November. I did opt to have reconstruction surgery. So I did go through that whole long process. That was completed in November of 2012. And I was just going along, doing well, and you know, everything. I started getting back on my feet and trying to get all that hideous medicine and all those things out of my system. And then on March 10th of this year, 2013, I had my checkup with both of my doctors, and that would be my medical oncologist, and with my regular doctor, my regular physician that sees me all the time. And I got a clean bill of health. I was told that I was disgustingly healthy. That just really just set me, I mean, I was on fire for a long time. I was so excited. So it was my journey. It was somewhat of a difficult journey. I am blessed, very blessed to have my family and my friends and my supporters and all of you, my beautiful hopefuls that support me constantly, to really push me and bring me through that process. You know, hearing some of you all's wonderful stories when you would send me messages and inbox me, and you know, just constantly keep encouraging me and pushing me on, and you know, just constantly coming back to my page to see what Miss Hope has next. You know, I think I run to my page more than you guys do just to see what it is that you all have to say. I really enjoy you all. You know, your support and your encouragement is phenomenal. And so as of today, you know, and this is July, I'm still doing well. As you see, my hair had grew back, and now I got my little coils in, and you know, everything. And so, but there is a I did have a method to the madness, as to say, because you can't just say, okay, well, you know, the Lord healed her, and so then he'll do it for me. This is true, but there are so many things that come along with this. You know, I believe in, like I stated before, full recovery. You know, that wholeness. You know, that's what life is about, wholeness. And it's about living your life to the fullest. And so with these segments, that's exactly what I want to show you guys, that no matter what, I don't care what the scenario or the situation is, you can still go forth. There is life after the fight. Unless they throwing dirt on you in the casket, you still have a life to live. And you don't even have to put a stamp on it. You know, even it's just your life that you have to live. So, you know, with these segments, I plan on touching with a whole lot of issues, you know, stigmas and self-esteem issues that we go through, you know, especially, you know, as women, you know, because we lose our hair, and, you know, we had to, you know, I made the decision to lose my breast. And it does change you. Even though I, you know, got a new set and everything, it still changed who I was for the better, thankfully. But some people don't always get changed for the better. I was just sitting here thinking, that was going through my mind. You know, I did have an issue with my radiation oncologist, where she really was not happy that I was coming in, that I wasn't coming in, you know, to do her thing. And she sent me a really nasty type of letter, you know, basically in so many words, saying that if I die, you know, it ain't on her, in so many words. But, you know, she used all those medical terms. And my thing was, my life was never in your hands in the first place. Praise the Lord. Because with that type of attitude, I didn't need it in the first place. So, you know, that's another thing. You know, when it comes to your body, your medical health, you have to remember that you pay those people. You know, they ain't paying you to be their guinea pig. You're paying them. So whatever it takes to make you healthy or happy or comfortable through this very difficult time, very difficult time, that's what they ought to be doing. You know, it should, you know, it ain't always one way to treat a patient. There are several different methods that you should be able to talk about and go through and feel totally comfortable. So my loves, that is my story. This is our first video. I'm so excited I got it done. Some of the topics that we're going to be talking about, scalp care, you know, how I cared for my scalp to rejuvenate and get my hair grow, how I care for my hair now, because it definitely changed a great deal since I had the chemo treatments. What, you know, we're going to talk about our bodies and our health and reconstruction, and is it all it's cracked up to be? You know, we see all these women with all these false boobies, you know, is it all it's cracked up to be? We're going to talk about food. We're going to be in the kitchen. It's just so many things. You know, hopefuls, I thank you so very much. I just ask that you continue to pray with me, and as we go through this process of spreading the word of hope, of pushing hope out there, because my organization is a lot different than other people. My organization is I'm focusing on, we're going to think about this life after the fight. We not planning no funerals, you know, we not hanging no banners unless we waving that banner of victory. That's what it's about. So I thank you so much for joining with me, hopefuls, and I hope to meet you here on the Hope channel again. Thank you. Bye.